Good afternoon and welcome to the main Nicholas Surf Classic being conducted at Clifton Beach. That's an important afternoon for the state surfers as it represents their last opportunity to have an important hit out and fine-tune their performances prior to the state championships, which will be taking place at Somerset on the March long weekend. Weather conditions, well, they're a little bit overcast. We'll be keeping our fingers crossed that it doesn't rain, but with good waves pounding into the beach here, it's sure to be a spectacular afternoon of action. The Open Surfing Teams is about to get underway, so let's now cross to your commentators, Peter Walsh and Stephen Gray.
Thanks, Rod. Welcome aboard. Welcome to air-conditioned comfort. Pleasure to have you on board our coverage of what should be plenty of spectacular action. Pretty icy action too. That breeze is fresh. And our vantage point overlooks the splendid surrounds here at Clifton Beach. Air-conditioned comfort is exactly the word. It's fresh and breezy. Steve, you've got a smile on your face. Once again, welcome to our coverage. You're a regular and familiar and welcome sight to us all as they're in the surf for the Open Surfing Teams race.
Yes, well, Peter, that they're away in the Open Surfing Teams, and these swimmers have got a great big battle here to get out through the surf. Conditions here at Clifton, as you've said, are quite good and extremely hard for these swimmers. You can see them diving underneath to get away from that turbulent water, and we'll try and pick some of these swimmers up for you. Ron Davies of Clifton Beach is there, also Matthew Watton of Clifton Beach. The veteran John Whitehouse is swimming here today for his club Clifton Beach also. Carlton Park swimmers there in the white cap. All swimmers now making their way out through the break. They look like they've got to the clear water.
Just talk us through the specifics in such an event. Now, it's a team's race. They've got to battle through the surf for a distance of how far from shore?
Approximately 200 metres from waist depth water. Now the teams consist of, the team's race is held in conjunction with the surf race. Each team has 4 members, and they're marked when they finish the race. They are allotted points, and of course the team with the least number of points is declared the winner.
How difficult is it in the conditions for a swimmer? We're going to be touching on all aspects of the carnival as the afternoon progresses, but for the swimmers in the water at the moment, now that they've broken into clear water, how tough are they out there?
Well, as you can probably see as they round the buoys, get close to the buoys, it is pretty tough. They swim very close together, and it's not unusual for a few fists to be flying round, and these swimmers would really be pouring on the power now. They've got to clear water, and they'll be really getting their strokes going, especially in conditions like this, Peter, because it's reasonably calm, and you can put the head down and really go for it and know that you probably won't get a mouthful of water. If conditions were rough, they'd be swimming with their head up all the way, and that's even harder.
But you can notice the bobbing of heads, and already you can see the field spreading out.
Yes,
at the vantage point on the rubber ducky. It'd be nice and comfortable out there away from the choppy conditions.
Yes, it would. And as they go along the back of the buoys, Peter, we'll just pick them up. It looks like it's the Matthew Watton from Clifton Beach. You can see the shot there. Good shot there from our camera up on the cliffs of Clifton Beach here. But it's Matthew Watton just rounding the buoy now, and try and pick up the other swimmer there for you. Looks like it possibly would be Curtis Pizzolato from Carlton Park. But there you can see the style of this young Matthew. He's a great swimmer, great surf swimmer, and also a very good pool swimmer.
When you talk about surf and you talk about the expertise of this young man, people are heaping praise on him and saying that he's one of the most promising prospects that will come out of the state for a long time.
Yes, he is. He's first year in senior ranks this year, and he competed last year in the state team as a junior and competed extremely well. I mean, when they go to the Australian titles, they're swimming against people such as Olympic swimmers, Woodhouse and McKeon, all champion swimmers, and Matthew put up a great effort in the junior. He finished 4th in the interstate event, which is probably the best that a Tasmanian swimmer has done.
What's his special ingredient? Why is he so good?
Well, he's only very short. That's probably a disadvantage, because a surf race can be won and lost in the wading area, and Matthew with his short legs has got a disadvantage there, but certainly he makes up for it once he hits the water. As
we approach the area where he might perhaps pick up a wave, the experience that he hasn't got, in that he's only young, at this stage of the race he's got probably a 15 or 20 metre gap, and that's a spectacular sight that you can see, and Matthew Watton makes it look pretty spectacular.
Yes,
switching strokes occasionally too.
Here comes a wave now. See how Matthew stopped there, and unfortunately he looks like he might, he's done the right thing. There he goes onto the wave, And also there's a couple of Carlton Park swimmers there who caught that wave, and now the battle's on. The race is not won until they cross that line, and in conditions like this, anyone can pick up a wave out the back and come through. Looks like it would be David Salter from Carlton Park in the white cap. Matthew Watton still leading, but here comes a swimmer through from right behind there. Looks like it would be John Whitehouse. Now this is a great swim by John. He's a champion surf lifesaver.
Now when they hit the beach, what do they have to do now?
Right, they're running up. They've got 2 green flags to cross, and as you can see, it's Matthew Watton from Clifton Beach coming across first. John Whitehouse from Clifton Beach will finish second. So they're looking good at this stage for the points, the teams event. And it was, yes, David Salter from Carlton Park in the white cap coming across in 3rd place.
Quite fascinating as the race unfolded about the tactics, and you notice that the change in stroke from Matthew Watton, a little bit of backstroke to try and pick up a wave. And I'm not going to say that luck plays an important part as we grab a bit of the H2O, the energy, the oxygen. I think it's a pretty wearying task out there battling through those waves, but the experience towards the finish, and there is a certain amount of the old luck.
Oh, well, it is luck, of course. That's the beauty of surf lifesaving. Not always, the best person doesn't always win. And that's what makes the movement such a great thing. But yes, experience comes into it, and luck. If you're in the right place at the right time, well, you can win a race from probably 4th or 5th position. And when there's a surf like we have here today, those sort of things can happen. You saw then John Whitehouse, who was probably running about 5th or 6th position, picked up a lovely wave, and John's been around for many years, ex-state champion, and he would really relish in these conditions here today.
The under-18 boat race is away. Spectacular action in the waves, and you'll see it all. And it's pretty tough to predict how the seniors will perform. What about the juniors in these sorts of conditions, Steve?
Well, Peter, the juniors are really going to know about it here. You can see a good shot there of the Penguin crew swept there by the sweep oarsman. It's Terry Owens. You can see him standing up the back. And if you think he's got an easy job, he's got a very hard job. It's just not all standing still on there. He'll be working with his crew, and when they come back in, you'll see how hard he has to really earn his money.
But that's an interesting comment you make about it being more difficult to come back in with the waves rather than to attack them as you go out.
Yes, well, when they go out, the more experienced sweeps will hold their boats back, but you can see there a shot there of Bernie.
You can see the Bernie crew doing exceptionally well, and whilst this race is in progress, a few moments ago you saw one of the feature events, the Open Surf Race, in action, and we saw Matthew Watton take out the event. Let's cross to Rod Kilner on beach as he speaks with Matthew Watton.
Well, thanks, Peter. Well, Matthew, congratulations. And how'd you find the conditions out there?
Oh, well, going out there are a few big waves to go under, and it takes a bit out of you, but on the way back in it seemed to drop off until about 30 metres off the shore, and then a few people got on a wave, and it was pretty even again, so it was quite hard, but I suppose that's what you train for.
You had a veteran pressing you towards the end there. You just snuck in ahead of him.
Yeah, this is the only carnival he does each year, and he always goes well at it because it's our home beach. But you've always got to watch out for him because he's so good in the surf.
Your first year of open competition, how have you found it?
Oh, well, when I was competing as a junior, I was doing a few open races as well, so I think it's a bit easier now because I don't have to do junior and open races, so it takes a bit of pressure off as well.
Trying to set yourself for the state championships?
Yeah, well, we've got to slowly build up for that, but can't afford to taper off too much in case you go away to nationals, so it's hard to build back up again for that.
Well, congratulations and all the best.
Thank you.
Back to Peter.
Thanks, Rod. An impressive young man, Matthew Watton, and his credentials good. These national championships coming up, and I believe that you've got such a hard life ahead of you, Steve, that you'll be even going to the Gold Coast to look at the beauties on display a little later on the year. Is it the World Championship? So what's it actually called?
Yes, it's the World Surf Lifesaving Titles. They're held every 3 years, Peter, and this year in Australia for the first time. They've been to Bali, and then we went to Hawaii. And of course, the Gold Coast is this year, and that comes up after the Australian titles towards the end of March.
Well, you can think about what the beauties are that you'll see on the Gold Coast, whilst we concentrate our attentions on the under-18 boat race that's on in earnest at the moment, and we can take a good look at what is unfolding with the conditions as they are at the moment, conducive to perhaps plenty of pretty pictures. It's all right for us sitting up here in our vantage point, but it's hard work out there for the crews at the moment.
Yes, they'll certainly be battling now. They've rounded the boys and heading for home, and this is where it really counts. This is where the arms start hurting and the back start aching, and the sweep. And as I said before, he's the guy who stands at the back of the boat, and he really pours the pressure on to try and get every bit of effort that he can out of the juniors.
When he's pouring the pressure on, is he liaising? Is he verbally revving them up?
Verbally revving them up. I mean, if we had a microphone out there now, there'd be all sorts of colourful language, I would imagine. But that's the way to get the guys going. Just trying. It looks like the Penguin boat there, the red grasshopper of the Penguin. They're rowing on the. You can see the shots there. Looks like Bernie.
Two crews fairly well placed, although they are a fair distance apart.
Yes,
it's a little bit difficult to just pick up who is in front. The Bernie crew on the inside and the Penguin crew on the top of screen. There's not much in it. No,
not as much. It's probably, I would say, from here, Bernie would be leading possibly by about a half a boat length. Penguin have certainly closed the gap because they must have got some water in the boat on their way out, and of course these boats are fitted with pumps, and once they get some water in them, they take a lot of moving.
We noticed earlier on, when we were watching before our telecast started, that there are a couple of mishaps. We saw the sweep tumble into the surf and taste some salt water. What does happen if we lose the sweep? Can he clamber back on board and still be eligible to...
Oh yes, the boat can cross the finish line without the sweep, but of course it's very hard to... there's no steerage once you lose your sweep, so... But yes, they can cross the line.
They're getting close to entering perhaps the trying part of the race with the waves as they are, and the conditions a little rough. We'll just see how the Bernie crew can hold it together.
There's a wave building up behind Bernie now. We should see some action. Penguin comes a wave now. Now Clive Thirlby will really be trying to go down this wave, and if he can hold the boat, they'll certainly take this race out. You can see the crew rowing down the face of this wave, probably 3 to 4 foot, and the sweep standing up the back there. Looks like a beautiful wave there. Now they'll try and pull the boat away from the white water. Now you can see the sweep trying to hold on. This is where the pressure counts, and now there goes Bernie. They've gone round there, and
they've put themselves under a bit of pressure.
They have, because Penguin have caught a wave out the back, but unfortunately they've gone across the wave also. So Bernie now have got their boat straightened up and are coming across the line to take this first race for the under-18 boat rowers.
Good performance too. We're leading from go to woe, and the
yes.
Red Hoppers coming in second spot. Plenty of distance. There's one thing about these boat races. You don't very often see 2 or 3 or 4 crews close together. They're spread out like Brown's cows.
Yeah, well, in these conditions, and also the juniors are a little bit, as you said, spread out a lot more, but the senior, the open boat, later on in the program, we'll see some pretty close tussles there, Peter.
Heat 2 of the open surf ski. They're almost ready to fire up. I'll give you the tip. The wind is not reducing in intensity. And if you see 2 commentators airborne and landing in the salt, very breezy. And in all seriousness, Steve, just how much of a difficulty is it with not only the surf getting up, but this breeze as it does blow up?
Well, fortunately, the breeze is going to be offshore. If it was coming in from the south or southwest, I think we'd be in a lot of strife, because this surf is quite big, and if we had an onshore breeze, it would be pretty hair-raising out there.
Hair-raising enough as it is anyway.
As you can see, there's action plenty here as these second heat of the open ski. They try and make their way out through the break. There's a couple of big waves there. But it looks like it could be trying to pick a few of them up, still trying to get out through the break. Most of them are clear.
Is the race won or lost in the early stages? If a mistake, an error in judgment is made, can it be as costly enough to prevent the person from getting back into it?
Oh, yes. Peter, if some of these competitors don't make it out through a wave, there you can see a young chap there from Devonport having a few problems. But if they don't make their way out through the break quickly, and they get clobbered or fall off their skis, a lot of ground can be lost, and you've virtually got no hope.
And this fellow has given up. I think he's the one that we saw in trouble earlier on, and he said, well, if this is surfing and this is what it's all about, I'm not too wrapped this afternoon, thanks very much.
Yes, I think he's got, from the look of it, Peter, he had problems with his rudder. Without a rudder, you really can't go back to the leaders. As you can see, it's let's try and pick some of these up for you. they're going out towards the buoys now, tightly packed.
This is the second heat of 2 in the open surf skis, remembering that there's a qualifying. How many into the final itself? We had 3 that crossed the line in the earlier heat and did it with ease.
Yes, it's the first 6 across the line. The final is a 12-man final, and 2 heats. First 6 will go into the final.
So they'd be looking to reserve as much energy as possible, not to exhaust the oxygen supply, but naturally enough be totally aware that they must make it into the final by finishing in the first 6 placings, and it's pretty tight as they turn.
Yes, we can see them as they go around that second buoy and head now across to the third one and then head for home. I would say it looks like from this, it could be, it's pretty hard to pick them up, but I would imagine it could be Kirk Dicker from Somerset. Jeremy Norton, he's in second place.
We might take a look at how things are progressing in the open women's board rescue.
Yes, well, this is a great event. This was taken from our junior movement, Peter, and it's turned into a very popular event. Just to briefly, quickly describe the event to you, on your screen you can see the patients swimming out towards the buoy. Now, on reaching the buoy, they will give the signal, which is one hand in the air, and then we'll go back to the beach area where we'll see the board rescuer grab the board and paddle out to pick the patient up. Once reaching the patient, they will, the patient will climb on the board, and then they both paddle the board back to the beach and finish with a run up to the beach across the line. Quite a very interesting event this, and as I said before, it's turning into a very popular event.
Finish of the second heat in the open ski.
Yes, coming now, it looks like it would be Jeremy Norton of Burnie.
That's a familiar name too in the surfing circles around Tasmania, and he's well clear.
There goes the hand in the air, and now the action comes back to the beach. You can see the board rescuer now. The girls are making their way out through the break, and they're going to have a bit of a battle because these conditions are pretty heavy.
One of our cameramen having a bit of a wash. A few problems in the salt for all and sundry as the skiers come across the line, and it's a pretty tight battle too for the minor placings, remembering the first 6 to qualify.
Yes, they'll pick 2 out of that. From here, it's pretty hard to tell, but I reckon it could be Shane Clark on the left of the screen there. He possibly might have made it, and also Craig Sweeney in the white ski, just going out of your picture there. I think they would have got through to the final.
Should be a clicker coming up. The girls in action on the boards. And let's take a few pretty pictures of the open women's board rescue currently in progress here at the Surf Carnival at Clifton Beach.
As you can see, it's the Ulverston board paddler. She has got a very good lead. Way back in the beach area, a lot of the other teams are having problems getting out through the surf, but Ulverston very strong in this open women's board rescue, and they've got a very good break. You can see the girl there from Ulverston, but looks like we have another shot there of the Burnie. They'll be running in 4th place at the moment. But a lot of ground can be made up here, Peter, because once they get out and pick their patients up, they really, it's pretty hard for 2 people to paddle the one board. And conditions like this, they can easily lose their patient. If they catch a wave, they can fall off and lose their board. Once again, if they lose their board and they have to go and retrieve it.
Well, with pun intended, they could lose their patient and their patients, given conditions as they are, and it's a bit tricky out there. And I think it's worthwhile elaborating, Steve, on the fact that the women are playing a more prominent part in carnivals, and we're not just putting this women's event on for the sake of it being a women's event. They now have become and are getting recognised as playing an integral part in such carnivals.
Yes, they've been, in fact, we were talking about it last night. We're trying to work out when the women first started in our movement. Well, I think it was about 8 to 9 years ago. But they have become a very important part of surf lifesaving. There was a lot of people who thought that women would never, could never be. It's a male-dominated sport, but the women have, they do everything in a surf club. They carry gear down, they lift the rubber duckies around. They do everything that they are expected to do everything that a man does, and they do it very well. And the women have been a great acquisition to the surf movement.
This is the first time that I've seen such an event in progress, the board rescue. You talk about it being an innovation. Is it something that other states also include on their carnivals regularly?
Yes, it has been now. It's, as I said before, it's started off in our junior movement, in the nipper movement. And we looked at it, and well, the powers to be looked at it, and it's developed into a great event in our calendar now.
We can jest about it, but I know that that on the beach, people perhaps take for granted just how important a part surf lifesaving is to the general safety of all and sundry, and it might be a bit spectacular and scenic for us to watch, but they're going through the trials and tribulations and all the necessaries. It's a very keen and enthusiastic gathering out here, and an important part of just what they're on about.
Yes, all the events are all connected with surf life, well, with patrols. You can see the girls there from Ulverston now running out of the water, and they'll be taking out first place in this board rescue, and they've opened up a very good lead. The other crew teams are still about halfway back into the beach. You can see the blustery conditions that we have here. There's the second place team, Penguin, and looking around trying to pick up some sort of assistance, but the swells seem to have dropped down, which normally happens all the time when you really want to wade. There's never one there. But as I was talking about before, all the events, for instance, the board rescue, that's used on patrols, picking up patients. The boat, of course, years ago was used as rescue equipment, which has now been taken over by the IRBs. The belt races, of course, when we had the reel line and belt on the beach.
Don't seem to see those as often now.
Now the reel line and belt has been phased out. A lot of people, me included, think that the best piece of rescue equipment is the reel line and belt, because once you get out there you don't have to swim and come back in. But it is being phased off our beaches right around Australia. The rescue tube now is becoming our #1 rescue piece of equipment, and of course our IRB.
There's the two ladies who enjoyed some success in the surf, and they've got the winners' grins.
Well, two happy ladies here. Congratulations. Charlene, firstly, how long have you been working together as a team?
2 years now as a team together.
What's the hardest part, the ski or the swim?
Oh, the board's pretty hard, but it's good to have a good swimmer too, yeah, the swim. And it's good to have a good swimmer, and you just have to get out there and go for it.
Vicky, how'd you find the conditions out there today?
Oh, well, I thought they were really good because I like to surf, where the pool swimmers would rather have it flat, but I thought they were really good.
And aiming for the state championships in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, we took out that last year. We work well as a team because we just we go in it more for fun than, have a good time together.
How much training do you do?
Swimming, we both swim every morning at 5 o'clock for an hour or so. So we do a fair bit, 4 kilometres we swim every morning. So.
Well, congratulations and all the best for the state championships. Back now to Peter.
The heavy artillery on display in the open boat second round. And if races earlier on are any indication, with the surf up, down by the seaside, lots of fun for us, and the crew's in for some hard yakka, Steve.
Yeah, they sure are. These are the big boys of the boating world, and you can see a shot there of the Carlton Park crew. As you can see, the boats are lining up, and we'll call them from you. Closest to you on the bottom of the screen, we'd have the crew from Carlton Park. Next to them, we have in the white boat there, the Ulverston crew. Then we go down in the lime green boat to Devonport. Next to them, Clifton Beach in the blue and white boat. Then we go down to Burnie, Somerset, and right on the far end we have the crew from Penguin. Now there's a shot there of the Ulverston team just going out through the surf. There's a few waves coming in. You can see that they would be trying to clear the waves to reduce the amount of water that will go in the boats. Of course, if they do fill up with water, they've got pumps. They've got a water pump there which will pump the water out, but it certainly slows the boat down.
If you're talking about pre-post betting, if you were framing a market, would it be fair to say that Ulverston and Penguin and they'd be a big gap to the rest of the field?
No, well, yes, that's possibly true, but in these conditions, anything can happen. I would imagine that Penguin will be very hard to beat in this second round. Ulverston have been certainly throwing down the challenge to them. There's the Devonport crew there. They've already dropped right back. You can see up the top of the screen there the crew from Burnie, and so you can see the distance already. Burnie have been very strong. They've reformed. They've lost a couple of members of last year's crew, and they've been rowing better as each carnival has progressed.
Tell us about the sweep and his responsibilities. You talked earlier on about the tactics and about him geeing them up verbally, but in the early stages of the race, with the team progressing as it is, now what sort of instruction is he ripping through to the crew?
Well, at the moment, he'd possibly be saying to the crew, right, we've got 20 strokes to the boys, and which they approximately would have anyway, and he'd be lining the boat up because if they happen to miss the buoy, and probably not in conditions that we have here today, but sometimes in very choppy conditions, it's very easy for these boats to miss the buoy completely, which means they have to go back and round it. You can virtually say they've lost the race. Now you can see Ulverston now, there they go into their turn. You can see the sweep throwing the oar round to get that boat round as quick as possible, and also to keep the boat moving. They really can't allow the boat to slow down at all. Now he's got them round the buoy, and you can see that they make their way back in. You can see the other crews going around on the top of the picture there. But now he'd be really urging his crew on here. He'd be saying, right, pick the rating up. He'd know where his opposition was. In fact, the opposition is Penguin, although not on your screen. Penguin are certainly going neck and neck here, right along the other end of the beach with Ulverston.
We'll throw to the beach flags now and take a look at the opening of the beach flags. It's virtual cat and mouse. It's a virtual musical chairs as they all dive for the flags. We'll come back and rejoin the open boat race in just a moment with the bodies on the beach. Talk us through this. It's pretty active, and it's a mouthful of sand, and it's the ability to move in a hurry and grab a flag in a quick, short period of time.
That's right, Peter. You can see the runners up, and they'll dive for those flags. And actually, when we call them flags, they're actually pieces of rubber hose. And the idea, of course, is you saw them laying down on the sand, and the whistle went, and it's a reflex. They have to really push those shoulder muscles and push themselves up off the sand, turn around, and sprint up to the flag area.
Process of elimination. The one who doesn't grab the flag.
That's right.
I wouldn't call it embarrassment, but he can just go away and find a spot to sit down.
Well, he'd probably go in some other event, I would imagine.
And we work it down from the process of elimination, and we're going to work it right through until the finish. But it's getting pretty exciting out on the water with the open boats nearing the finish. And let's rejoin the leaders.
Yes, well, there's the shot of Penguin. Now, they've come through and probably opened up a 2 or 3 boat length lead. Ulverston on the other end of the beach, but it's Terry Owens, the sweep of Penguin. They'd be pretty happy because this is the second race that they've won. They won the first one quite comfortably. And then we go back to the other crews just finishing now. It looks like it would be Ulverston and also Somerset. They'll be coming across the line. Burnie further out. But a good win there to Penguin. They would be very happy. They missed a couple of carnivals. Our first carnival, actually, they missed. They were represented Tasmania at the George Bass Marathon from down the New South Wales coast over a whole week, and they finished 6th out of 30 crews, which was a great effort.
Well done. Let's take you back now to the continuation of the beach flags final. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bodies on the sand. Let's just see how quick they can jump up, turn around, sprint and dive.
No, it's just a false start there. They get the command that they lay there, and they have to have their feet and hands in a perfect position, in a correct position. As soon as that they have done that, it's feet together and hands on top of one another. As soon as they have done that, they get the command heads down. You'll see them put their heads down, their chin on the hand. There they go, and the whistle goes, and they're up and running. It's about a 20-metre beach sprint up the beach.
You tried that?
Yes, I have, actually, I have.
Swallowed much sand?
Yes, a lot of sand.
Well, the skill involved. It's all right to say that you've got to be agile, you've got to be strong, but what's the necessary?
Well, it's really just you have to be very fit, and it just reflexes.
We'll pick up the further heats as the afternoon progresses. Now for one of the prestigious events on the calendar, Surf Carnival Rundown always has a major attraction, and the Open Surf Ski Final. The predictions have been this could be a toss-up with any one of 4 taking out the checkered flag. Steve, your predictions have been very accurate so far. Put your head on the chopping block.
Well, this is the big one. I really couldn't.
Yes, you could
not pick a winner. I think I'd have to, if you're really going to put the pressure on me, I would have to say, oh dear.
OD is not in the race.
I couldn't pick a winner. I could tell you 4 who one of them will win. It would be Craig Sweeney of Penguin, Jeremy Norton of Burnie, Ken Elliott of Penguin, and of course last Carnival winner Craig Machin of Somerset. It will be one of those, I can assure you.
11 in the final, the Open Surf Ski Final, and this has been billed as being the race on the calendar.
Now you can see as they really get these craft moving, they're a very fast craft. There's a wave approaching and they're really trying to dig in hard. You can see them trying to get over that wave because they realise that once they cleared that one, that they'd have a clear water. Now there's a few back there.
A couple of casualties.
Yes, a few problems. They hit that wave and there goes another, he won't be too happy, the chap there, but back to the leaders, and it would be Ken Elliott of Penguin. Just you can see him on the white...
He looks like the hunchback.
Yes, the white ski. You can see that Ken, he's really pouring the pressure on, but across there it would be next to him and making up ground would be Jeremy Norton of Burnie. I think it's very hard to pick them up here, but we'll certainly do our best for you.
Whilst you're grabbing the binoculars and having a look, we can tell you that as the afternoon does unfold, we'll take you back very shortly for more of the Open Beach Flags final, and we've got the board rescue final, we've got the Taplin relay, the sprint final on the Open for the men, the Ironman, and a bit of the March Pass, so plenty of action. But at the moment, the centre of attention is in the surf, in the water, for the surf ski final.
Right, we've got Ken Elliott who's leading. You can see Ken there, he's about a half a ski length in front of the his opponent, who would be Jeremy Norton of Burnie. And then further back there, Craig Sweeney of Penguin.
And as they're about to turn, we'll take you back to the beach because we have now 5 competitors left in the Open Beach Flags final. 5 competitors left, and they're lying on the sand. Let's take you back and pick up the action as the countdown continues. And there's a bit of a premature performance by the man in the green shorts, the green togs.
Yes, that could be Bongiletti of Devonport. He broke there. So they have to go back down again and just relax before the whistle goes. As you can see, they're running up the beach there. They all dive, but one of them is going to miss out.
Let's take you back to the water. The Open Surf Ski Final. They've rounded the boys. They're heading for home.
Yes, and now you can see the pressure coming on. This is where it'll count. As they round that last buoy, the challenges will come thick and fast now. On the way out, you probably saw that a couple of them were just hanging in behind, and they fell into Elliott's slipstream, and they probably would have had a reasonably easy run out. Also the breeze behind them, but now they're punching straight back into this very stiff nor'wester, and in fact I think the breeze is swinging around slightly. But you can see the pressure on the faces now. It's Jeremy Norton close on the bottom of the picture. Ken Elliott, and coming into view there right on the top would be Craig Sweeney of Penguin.
3 favourite candidates sharing the honours at the moment. They're not too far to go in this Open Surf Ski Final. They all figured well in the heats, all did as much as they had to do in the heats, but now it's the business end of the season. This is what it's all about, the blue ribbon.
Yes, they're coming to the wave area now, and this is going to be a great finish. I predicted this, and you can see there's nothing separating Ken Elliott, Jeremy Norton, and also Craig Sweeney of Penguin. One of these paddlers will, when they win this race, will be the second time, because every carnival we've had this year, there's been a different winner.
Just have a look at how close it is.
Yes, they're really coming into the area now where any sort of assistance they can pick up. Now, there's a small little wave there. It looks like it could be Craig Sweeney of Penguin, who might have come down the face of that. But we've got 1, 2, 3 coming up here as they set their sights on the finish line, and this is where the power will come in. It really start to churn these blades over now. But I really can't pick it, so I hit the line. How about look at this finish here?
What a finish! What a finish! Norton, Sweeney, and Elliott coming across the line, and it might have been Norton who finished up grabbing it right on the line.
Yes, I think from here it could have been Jeremy Norton. You see him carrying the ski out there now. Very good ski paddler, Jeremy. Also, a lot of these ski paddlers, of course, are going to kayaks. You know, names such as, of course, famous names such as Grant Kenny and a lot of other paddlers have gone to kayaks to try and win that elusive gold medal at the Olympics.
A few dollars worth in all that equipment we can see from that shot, but a very exciting finish in the open surf ski final with Norton, Elliott and Sweeney all poising just before the line to hopefully pick up the wave that would carry them across at a bee's knee in the finish.
That's about what it was. I wouldn't like to judge down there today because that was a pretty hot finish. So we're down to the final and the boats are away now. The under-18, the juniors are making their way out through the surf, and we'll pick these crews up for you. There's a good shot of Clifton Beach juniors as they make their way out, punch their way out through that surf and get to the clear water, chaps, and really go for it. But
it's the Penguin crew on screen, and whilst this race is in progress, we can pick up the final beach flag. 2 to go. 2 competitors left.
Right, so we've got McKinlay and Bongiletti.
Crews in action, and so are the men on sand.
Now they're up, and as they go, they dive for the flag. It looks like it's gone to, yes, Devonport competitor there. A great win.
Bongiletti, I tell you what, when he got up, he was spitting sand. The granules were falling out from between the teeth. There was a bit of hip and shoulder involved.
Yes, a few roughhouse tactics, but as long as it's all fair and there's no actual pushing or shoving, anything can go on.
The race that you are now watching, the under-18 boats second round. And shortly, we'll have a chat to the winner of the Open Beach Flags final. We're commentating, trading as my teeth chatter, from the air-conditioned comfort of the structure here for ABC television. The breeze at our backs. There isn't any great cause for concern at this particular stage because I've every confidence in the structure that we're hanging onto with both hands. But it is a rather spectacular sight. We have an excellent spot to witness the day's proceedings as they do unfold, both in the water and on the beach, and the hardy brigade of sports people. And I call them hardy with a great deal of respect. Those men who muscle it out, and women, in the surf, and a great respect we have for those out in the boats. Expensive gear out there, and the under-18s taking it in their stride. Now, when you talked about the under-18s, the age group, etc., it doesn't matter how old the sweep is.
No, the sweep can be, he can be 44, 45, he can be any age, but the 4 crewmen must be under 18.
And whilst the crews are battling it out, let's take you down to Rod Kilner, who's chatting with the winner of the Open Beach Flags final.
Well, Ross, you've been around the surf scene for some time.
Yeah, it's about 15 to 20 years. I originally in Queensland and moved down here and decided to keep doing a little bit to keep fit.
How do you find the water?
Cold.
The flag competition, what are the key elements in that to bring success?
I think you're just naturally born, I think, with to do flag events because they're just a reflex action, don't need a lot of fitness. And there's really a limited amount of training you can do for it. Just keep fit. As long as you can run reasonably quick and have good reflexes is the main thing.
And what would your main events be now?
I'm really a ski paddler. Haven't had a good bit of luck today. I broke a rudder in my ski. But mainly I'm a ski paddler and I do this as a sideline.
Very successful sideline. Congratulations.
Thanks very much.
That was Ross Bongiletti who was talking to Rod Kilner. And what an excellent shot that was, the slow-mo replay of 2 men who gritted their teeth and finished up with grit in their teeth. They both threw their bodies at the flag, and the competitive spirit evident. And I like the comment that Ross made. He was the one we saw earlier on who had problems with the paddle. Okay, well, that's too bad. Thank my mother for the rabbits for that one, and get back to business and have another event.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm fascinated in the work that the crews would have to do, the boats now. In order to be able to practice, you've all got to be able to get together. The team's got to be there at the one time to practice, etc. They've got to be able to get the boat ready. They've got to have the suite there who's obviously got another occupation, etc. So it is a real effort to be able to organise, get your act together and do the necessary training to be competitive.
Yes, a lot of work goes in. I mean, these crews, they train virtually all year for these state championships. And we've got a great finish coming up here in the under-18 because it's Bernie. You can see Bernie and Penguin both in the same wave there. Quite a small wave, but just enough to get their boats moving. And great finish coming up here between, you can see Penguin there and the white red grasshopper boat really pouring on the power now. Bernie coming back there also. Now have a look at this finish. A great shot there of the 2 crews. as they hit the line. It looks like the familiar arm-raising victory sign of Terry Owens, a sweep of Penguin, might have taken them across there in first place, but certainly we'll have to leave it to the judges.
And they're quick to go out and congratulate the crews, not just the winners, but those that competed successfully in the under-18 boat second round. Now we take you to an update on the open board rescue final with the patients and the doctors heading back for shore. This is the open board rescue final.
Yes, well, as you can see, not in this, I would think that it would be Clifton Beach who'd be leading, but the challenges are coming from the two Ulverston teams now. Clifton Beach are paddling quite strongly back to shore, but the challenge is coming from Ulverston. Ulverston normally had a mortgage on this event.
We watch with interest as we get close to shore, about probably 70 or 80 metres away from shore, and the waves, and they're looking for and finding them out there. So as you did suggest, nice and tight, about 5 to 10 metres the difference at the moment.
Now, as you can see, Clifton Beach have paddled down that wave. They've done it very well. I thought they would have slipped off the back, but they've going to ride this all the way to the beach. So it would be Sean McCarthy and Matthew Watton of Clifton Beach. A great bit of surfing there by those fellows, and as you can see, they'll grab hold. They both must hang on to the board when they cross that line, and it's Sean McCarthy and Matthew Watton crossing the line to take out that open board rescue.
Matthew Watton enjoying a successful afternoon, as we did say earlier on. He's got heaps of talent, and he's looking quite happy about how he's filled in his Saturday afternoon. Second place getters just crossing the line, and we have
the line. That's Devonport competitors coming in there in the green and white cap. There's also a spare board floated in, and so they'll be doing a lot of swimming. Might have been a second Ulverston crew, but there's Devonport here.
the open board rescue final coming to an end.
So they'll be coming across the line there in third place, I think, Devonport.
Shortly the Taplin relay, but our roving reporter Rod Kilner has been seeking out the sand dunes and taking a look at what he can find, and he's come up with someone who knows this area quite well, a legend himself. He's speaking on the beach with Binny Wilson.
Binny, you've had a long association actively with surf life saving, 50 years. You must love it.
Yes, it's terrific. When you get good mates, good weather, surfing, you can't beat it, I don't think.
What is it about the sport that has kept you involved for so long?
Well, I think just working with the young people, and well, I'm enjoying it, and well, it fills in the day, and also it's the doing something, you know, that I'd hate to see anybody drown on Ulverston Beach, so that's one of my main interests, to keep that beach safe.
You must have seen some pretty significant changes in the surf life saving over that 50-year period. What would be some of the most significant?
Well, I think the most significant would be the introduction of the motorised surf boats, rescue boats. In the old days when you had the old cork belt that used to hit you under the chin when you went out, now the rubber duckies, that's the most important thing of a lot, I think, and also the expired air resuscitation.
Are there as many young people these days as keen on the discipline as perhaps in the past?
Not much discipline, but they enjoy the surfing more. In fact, we have a lot more young people now than when I was there. In my days, you had to be a 20-year-old big chap to be in it, but now, as you can see around you, the cadets are our main big strong force.
Well, Benny, I hope you have many more active years in surf life saving, and thanks very much for talking to us.
Yes, so there. Thank you very much.
Back to Peter.
In the starters' hands for the Open Women's Beach Sprint Final. We have the Taplin relay shortly, but the girls in the starters' hands for the Beach Sprint Final are Davis, Robertson, Cullen, Jarman, Saunders, Cheeseman, Landmaid and Skinner. No lanes, no blocks. It is helter-skelter for the distance, Steve, of how many metres?
90 to 95 metres, Peter.
Don't be too specific.
95 metres or so, as per the competition manual.
And the winner will be?
Well, I'd select possibly in lane 3, just can't, from the left-hand side of the screen, lane 3, Judy Davis from Somerset.
There's not much of Judy.
No, but she's very, very strong in the legs, and she's been winning most races this year. Unfortunately, missed out on the state team last year, but we'll certainly see a great effort from her here today at Clifton.
Ulverston have 4 competitors.
Yes, the Ulverston girls there would be Cullen and Jarman, also Cheeseman and Landmaid, so Ulverston well represented in the middle of the field. The girls in the maroon bathers there, you can see them quite clearly.
different starts for all and sundry and away. The helter-skelter 95 metres down the surf, and the little lass in blue, who you predicted might figure prominently, is about a metre in front. The Ulverston lass, the stronger of the two, but not going to be quite powerful enough. Did you have the money on the winner?
Yes, a great run there by Judy. Has problems with soft sand, and these conditions here at Clifton wouldn't suit her. But she has run a great race there, and no doubt will be looking forward to the state titles at her home beach in 2 weeks' time.
She's only knee-high to a grasshopper too, and being able to work through the sand and do well. Well, Judy Davis.
Judy Davis, that's her. She's quite happy.
Let's have a look at the last 20 or 30 metres. Little Judy Davis powering along merrily. There she is.
There she is there. She's really getting those legs up and moving across the sand. You can see the style there as she crosses the line there now and goes past the cameraman, and a very good shot there of Judy as she has hit the finish line.
And we're just about ready to pop down and say hello to the winner of the Open Beach Sprint Final for girls, Judy Davis, and she's about to speak with Rod Kilner.
Judy, congratulations. Are you involved in athletics off the beach or just on it?
No, just training at the beach and that's all, and then racing at surf carnivals.
What's brought your interest in this particular aspect of the sport?
Well, I've always had a keen interest in running, and I play indoor cricket and indoor netball and basketball, so running's just fun.
By the way you're puffing, it certainly is. You're looking forward to the state championships?
Yes, very much so. It's at a home beach, so I hope to do well.
What's the training going to involve?
Heaps of training for about an hour, I suppose, every night for the next couple of weeks.
Best of luck, and hope you can continue on with your success.
All right, thank you.
Teams in the Taplin relay almost steady and ready. We're not too steady. We almost lost our commentator, Steve Gray, almost blown out of the box. We have a swim, we have a board ride, and we have a ski for the teams in the Taplin relay. And it's nice to have you on board. You were almost an object that disappeared from our vantage spot.
Just climb back up the scaffolding, and as you can see, the first leg of this Taplin relay is the swim league. Clubs competing in this event are Penguin, Clifton Beach, Burnie, Carlton Park and Ulverston.
Now talk us through what has to happen in the event.
Okay, well, this is the first leg. This Taplin relay is 3 legs. There's swim, the next leg will be board, and the final leg will be the ski league. Now the swimmers, there are two 6 in a team. There's 2 with each league, and the swimmers will go out about 120 metre swim. That's 240 out and back, and then they will come up the beach and tag the next swimmer. Now after the second swimmer has done his course, they will then hand over to the 2 board paddlers, and then the board paddlers will go out to round 2 boys at the behind the swimming boys, and that's about a 320 metre paddle. And then once the 2 board paddlers are finished, of course they go one at a time, they then hand over to the ski paddlers, and there's 2 ski paddlers, and they then go out to another set of boys, which is approximately 200 metres out, which is about a 400 metre ski paddle.
What's the significance of having 2 in the swim, 2 on the ski and 2 on the board?
Well, they used to have, some years ago, Peter, they used to have 3 men in each league, but it used to take up just too much time. It takes a long time, and it's a great race because as clubs, you find clubs are stronger in, say, in the board area than maybe in swimming, and some clubs are better in swimming than in board, so the race does change from time to time. The league can change quite a lot in this event.
We're in the early stages of the first of 2 swim legs, followed by the first of 2 boards, and the skis last, and a charge along the beach to seek that glory. And we aren't exaggerating, the wind has picked up quite appreciably here at the beach. It has its momentary lulls, but there aren't too many momentary lulls at the moment.
Now, as you can see, they're rounding the buoy now, the red and yellow buoy, and heading back to shore, and it's the great battle going on here between Ulverston and Carlton Park. Can't quite pick up the swims for you, but those 2 clubs are leading, going stroke for stroke as they head back in.
Who'd be the favourite team in this particular event?
Possibly Ulverston, I think, Peter. They should be favourites, although, as I said, Clifton Beach have been just hanging in there ready for a mistake, and in these conditions, Clifton could find themselves winning this event, but my word, still a long way to go.
Do you find that in events, in the different sorts of events at such a carnival, that we have some parts of the state that are stronger? For example, Ulverston in the boats and Penguin in the boats, whereas in the swim or on the beach, you might find that there are other centres that perhaps have a bit more power in that particular area.
Yes, well, the south of the state has normally had the better swimmers. Now, we can just, for 1 second, a great bit of surfing here by John Whitehouse at Clifton Beach. Saw a great lot of good surfing from him on the open surf race, and he's picked this wave up. He was running about 4th. He's going to ride this wave all the way to the beach, I can assure you of that. A Ulverston swimmer there on the same wave, but a great bit of surfing there by Whitehouse, and also from, looks like it might be Redmond of Ulverston, running up the beach.
Very close to the first leg to change to the next swimmer, and there's only, what, about 10 metres separating 1, 2 and 3.
That's right, there they go. Now they'll tag their second swimmer. Now you can see that. Oh, it looks like it could be Matthew Watton of Clifton Beach should be swimming this leg, so Ulverston will have to really pull something out here if they're going to stop Clifton leading the next section out, which is the boards.
We've already commented on the afternoon that Matthew Watton has enjoyed, but surely after a vigorous campaign of battling the elements, he'd be feeling a little the worse for wear.
Oh no, these lifesavers are very fit. I mean, they go in a lot of events, and they wouldn't go in them if they couldn't. But you can see that the Burnie competitor, second swimmer, running into the water there. But just getting back to the difference in between the coastal area and the southern area. The southern area has normally had the better swimmers and mostly the better beach runners. But the northwest area have always been better at the craft and boats in years gone by.
The tail ender just heading for home, and there's a big gap between first and last, and it's a big challenge to hit the waves and splash away into a contest where you're probably 70 to 80 metres behind the leading swimmers. Might be a few problems in the water at the moment for the leaders. Matthew Watton, who we'd mentioned quite a few times during the afternoon, splashing away, and at the change there was only 10 metres between 1, 2 and 3, and there's no more. That margin's still about the same. Yes, as the three leading swimmers turn the last buoy and head for shore.
Yes, well, Matthew Watton of Clifton's opened up a lead, but Carlton Park have slipped into second place now. Their swimmer, who I just can't pick up, possibly would be David Salter. David, of course, has represented Australia in that underwater hockey game called Octopush. In fact, he's only just come back from the national titles, and so I would imagine that would be him swimming this league. And then we go back to Ulverston in third place. But it's Clifton Beach now. There's a wave coming up behind Watton here. If you can see, have a quick look now. If he can pick this up, he can certainly really give Clifton a good lead here. Now you can see great bit of surfing there by Matthew Watton. Comes down the face of a wave. Now this will give Clifton a really good break here, and
you almost had some problems too, because there was a surfboard where someone enjoying the afternoon's festivities, and Matthew was quick enough to see that there were some difficulties. Yes. And he's opened up a big gap. Yes,
well, you can see the lead now. Now this, of course, is not a match, not an event-winning lead. You can see how conditions can change a race. Now Clifton will be certainly going into this board leg, the next leg, the board section, with a very good lead, but they're really going to have to be very careful and trying to hang on to this lead.
Well done, Matthew Watton. An excellent swim. He caught the wave, and he gets a warm round of applause as he heads for the changeover. Well done, Matthew's the call. You can pick that up in our effects microphone. He does the tapping, and we're into the boarding.
Yes, Sean McCarthy, Clifton Beach, she'll be the first board paddler. Now he has to negotiate the break, and this is where they can get knocked off their boards, and a lot of things can happen in conditions that we've got here today.
Nice to protect the lead like that, though.
Looks like it would be, yes, David Salter of Carlton Park. He's running up now to hand over to his board paddler, which would be, I think, David Russell Green for Carlton Park. Yes, it's David. You can see him on camera there as he runs into the water and gets a flying start there. The Ulverston paddler going in, but Clifton are through the break now, further out to sea, and they've got clear water in front of them, and these two here on screen have to negotiate the break still, so just depends on what sort of swell comes through to see whether they can get through without any disasters happening. Penguin and Burnie just coming out of the water. Penguin in the aqua colour cap, just coming round first. Looks like that would be Craig Sweeney of Penguin, who swam that league. He'll hand over to his board paddler, which would be Shane Clark. And the birdie paddler would be Wade. Now there's a great flying. The wind caught his board there. You can see how strong this wind is.
It almost took off.
Almost took off. Shane, a very experienced board paddler, probably would have realised that he would have really had to hang on to the board. And the wind's coming sort of, it's swinging back to the west now. It came around a bit southwest and now it's gone back to west.
But once they get out of the shallow water, out to heading for the open sea and heading for a lot calmer conditions, they're motoring along, particularly the leader.
Yes, well you can see Clifton Beach paddler Sean McCarthy now going round the buoy, and now he's going to have to really punch back into this strong offshore breeze. And you see the actions there as he comes back to shore. He's got the...
That's a big gap too between first and second. Nice and tidy in close for second and third, but Clifton Beach at the moment. But as you've so accurately predicted right throughout the afternoon, things can change so quickly. Matthew Watton's lead, because of a good wave, was increased from 10 metres to 60 or 70 metres in a split second.
That's right, Peter. That happens in surf life-saving. As I said to you before, the winner is not always the best, and that's what makes surf life-saving such a great sport. Clifton Beach would really, they're coming into the wave area now. Now, if they can pick up a wave here, they can really spread eagle the rest of the field, but unfortunately he's just fallen off the back of it, and there's no other waves in sight, so he might have a hard push. Now, if a big set comes in, it's going to favour the Ulverston paddler, because he's within striking distance of Clifton, especially if a big set, big swell comes through now.
Clifton Beach not having too much luck, not the luck that the swimmer enjoyed. But he's having to work very hard indeed into this breeze.
Yes, no swell. There's a little swell coming up here. If he can really push himself down this, it's going to be... no, he stopped paddling at the wrong moment. Now, there could be a few problems here. Just has a look over his shoulder.
He's having a few Bo Peeps.
Now, you can see him stop there. He'll come onto this wave now, but out the back we've got another wave coming up for Ulverston, so in fact they could only be one wave away from Clifton. Sean McCarthy now running up the beach. He'll hand over to the Clifton Beach club captain, actually, Simon Kay. There he goes now waiting, and off he goes. And the challenge is going to come from Ulverston. I'll stick the neck out here, and Ulverston very strong in this board league, and they've got Stuart Diprose, who's a great board paddler. You see the runner come up and send Diprose away, and I would not be at all surprised if Ulverston aren't in front at the end of this league.
Well, let's remember that for the first change after the swim leg, the margin was about 100 metres. It's now about 25 to 30 metres.
Yes, that's right. And Clifton not quite in the board, not as strong as Ulverston in the board section.
There's our leader, not making heavy weather of it. He's almost broken through the wave area.
Yes, he's got clear now. He's just went over that wave. Now, third guy, that's the Carlton Park, David Russell Green, handing over to the board paddler. Because of the windy conditions, their handler has taken the board down the beach, which is a very sensible idea, because we saw it happen to Shane Clark of Penguin when he took off. He nearly went with his board, and the officials have allowed a handler to go in and hold these craft in the water.
It's a deceptive angle, but I reckon there's only probably 20 metres in that.
I think you're right. From here, about 20 metres. It's a little bit distant. On the screen, it's very hard to see the distance. There we go, Gary Clark of Penguin. He's running into the water now. Shane's brother, who paddled the first leg, running into the water to paddle, try and get his team up into a placing in this event. But there they go. You can see the IRB, the rubber duckies, commonly known, sitting behind the boys with the judges in there. And it still would be Clifton now. He's going along the back of the boys now. Now you'll see the distance between these as Diprose of Ulverston comes up. Now there he goes, hitting the boys now. You can see them as they paddle their way along the back of the boys.
There's about 10 seconds on the clock, about 10 seconds difference. Now, if you can put that back to distance, it's probably about 15 metres now, and that's all. And yes, closing.
And closing rapidly. The pressure will really come on here. Diprose would be really putting the long ones in now, and certainly they'll certainly come out in front of Clifton after this leg.
And what about the strength of the respective teams in the ski?
Clifton Beach quite strong on skis, performed very well at Carlton 3 weeks ago, but Ulverston would have to be favourites at this stage, barring any mishaps, I would imagine. But mishaps are plenty. I mean, these conditions can upset the best of them. As you can see, the leaders on the screen now, and we have their dip rows. You can see the different styles. Simon Kay of Clifton Beach on the bottom of the screen, and dip rows now making the move now. You can see him really pushing the knees.
Is he bending the back? Is he what?
He's a great paddler, Dip Rose, your Dip Rose from Ulverston.
And he's given them the lead. Ulverston taking over for the first time in this Taplin relay after the team from Clifton Beach opened up a big lead after the 2 swims. But the conditions sorting them out. These 2 leaders have opened up a big gap. And it's a cat and mouse at the moment. A wave would be handy for Clifton Beach, who are starting to flag just a fraction, but it sets us up for an exciting final 2 ski legs. Yes, he's starting to tire a bit now. It's a little bit demoralising when you've been leading and then you see another paddler go past so quickly. But there's a bit of a wave coming up now, but there's a Dip Rose now paddling down the front of a good little wave there for his club. And he's a great board paddler, Stuart Dip Rose, and he's going to give Ulverston quite a good lead here. But plenty of things have happened. Clifton Beach are out the back, just catching a wave also. But here comes Dip Rose for Ulverston, jumping off his board now. You can see he'll get those legs running up out of the water, and he's going to head along the beach to hand over to the first ski paddler for Ulverston. Who I think pleased with that performance too. Yes, so I think it might be Jamie Rose. Clifton Beach runner just coming in, but the Ulverston head off. A couple of skis to go, and perhaps success in this Taplin relay. Yes, you can see the Ulverston paddlers making his way out through the break. Looks like he's got clear now. There's not many swells coming. There's a couple of big sets coming through, but I think he's well enough out to get past them. And this won't do Clifton Beach any good at all, because they are just on their way out. And we'll have to negotiate the break. But you can see the lead. We'll see the good paddling style there of the Ulverston paddler as they head out towards the boys. Ulverston leading from Clifton Beach. Further back then we'd have Carlton Park. There's your Carlton Park paddler, would be looks like Paul Banks of Carlton Park. He's paddling into his club into 3rd place here, so it's Carlton Park in 3rd as we nearly get blown off the scaffolding again. And there's a gentleman below us who almost got clobbered, but fortunately he's done the right thing and picked up a bit of gear that goes walkabout. Ulverston setting the scene, setting up for a final ski league and success in this Taplin relay. They've opened up about a 15 to 20 metre gap now. It's very difficult, very deceptive from where we are. It gives the impression that perhaps it may have closed just a fraction, as they're heading back into shore, and it's a long way between 2nd and 3rd. Yes, well, Graham Van Gowen is paddling this league for Clifton Beach, and he's quite an accomplished ski paddler. He's only a young chap and really puts in and does the hard work, and he's not letting Ulverston get away at all on this league. There's a good shot there of the Ulverston paddler. One more leg to go. The second leg of the ski race, and the Taplin relay will be over. Of course, they do finish with the last ski paddler doesn't finish at the water's edge. He has to then do a 50-metre dash up the beach. So he's got the hardest job of all. Especially after working hard in the surf for a few minutes anyway. I suppose all up it'd be 3 or 4 minutes for a ski league, or perhaps even more, maybe 5. Yeah. Yes, depending on today, you'd be looking at about 5 minutes. But of course, when there's no surf, you could probably get a leg over in 2 or 3 minutes. Coming in out of the wave area as he comes in, just holds, gets the breather ready for the run up the beach. Breathes the oxygen into the lungs. See him running up the beach there. Yes, it is Jamie Rose from Ulverston, just tanning off now to, yes, it's Brett Norton-Smith from the Ulverston club. Brett's been around for many years, and no doubt he'll really want to hold this lead that Ulverston have established. Clifton Beach now, they're not that far behind. A good paddle there by Graham Van Gowen as he hands over. 18 seconds difference on the clock, just to give a rough indication as to how much time the Ulverston team enjoy in the lead. 18 seconds in front.
There's Clifton Beach, Justin Lawson there paddling his way out. He's got a few waves to negotiate. Ulverston are clear, and he should really keep paddling there. You shouldn't stop, because once you stop paddling, you lose all your momentum. And also, as he's finding now, it's very hard to keep your balance when you're not moving. These craft are very, very unstable. They take a lot of practice. Not many people can just sort of sit on them and paddle them. They're very, very hard to balance. A lot easier when they're moving.
Ulverston big leaders in the Taplin relay, remembering that they were trailing until midway through one of the earlier legs on the board after trailing badly during the swim leg. But I think the point that you emphasised earlier on, Steve, was you must have a team that has got that versatility, and there must be a fair amount of evenness, and that's what's been to the fore.
Yes, that's right. Some clubs, for instance, Penguin are a very strong club, as are Burnie, but you'll find that they're struggling at the moment because their swimming capabilities aren't probably up to the strength of, say, Clifton or Ulverston. There's no doubt about it. Penguin and Burnie are very, very strong in the ski league. In fact, you can see them making them. They're very, very strong in the ski area, and no doubt will fill a place before this event's out.
There's the big gap, and the gap has not been closed at all. It's Ulverston by a fairly lengthy margin. They're going to enjoy some success.
There's some nice little swells coming up there, as you can see, but he won't be able to pick that up. He's a little bit too far out, but it would have been a nice wave to catch. And Brett, he'd be happy just to look at it. He just looks over his shoulder. Ex-state team representative and state champion. Been around for many, many years, Brett Norton-Smith, and a great character.
He's got time too to peruse over the shoulder.
Yes, he'd be quite happy with that. He's just having a stop. He can see the wave he's going to catch. In fact, it's coming up behind him now. And he'll be happy just to ride this all the way to the beach. And he should be able to handle it. He's been around for that many years, so I can't see him falling off or anything like that.
Don't put the moz on him.
Well, as I do that, he loses his ski. And but he'll stay on it all right. He's just hanging on to it. Keeps the feet in the foot straps. Now he'll leave the ski. You can see him wading out of the water.
Ulverston about to take success, about to take the #1 placing in the Taplin relay. Only a few metres to go, and it's not going to be hammer and tong with two teams battling it out. Ulverston, congratulations. An easy win and a popular win from those who are gathered here.
It's a good win there to Ulverston, and Brett would love that. He loves the crowd, he loves the cameras, so he'd be feeling pretty good right now.
Takes a few gasps, hands on hips. There's our second place getter, Clifton Beach. Yes. Not too far away from finishing.
Very good effort by Clifton Beach. They aren't real strong in their board and ski areas, but they are getting they're getting better than what they were. They've always had very good swimmers, and I think would be rather happy to pick up second place in this Taplin relay. Then we go back to Nick. A good race coming on into third. There's the Clifton Beach runner, Steve Papa, coming across to take out second place. Justin Lawson, but the interest is going to lie back. We've gone back now to the third place getters, and we have Carlton Park and Burnie. Carlton Park in the yellow ski there, and also Burnie with the red ski. Now,
who's going to be quicker out of the craft and onto the sand?
This is where it's going to count. Now, Carlton Park runner is off, and he's looks like going to throw everything into it here. Just trying to pick up who it is. It might be Tyrone Calvert of Carlton Park running on the beach, and Adrian Norton there of Burnie. But so it's Carlton Park filling third, and they'd be happy with that. Burnie would have to be content with fourth place. And
a shake of the hands. That's the Taplin relay. All honours with the winners, Ulverston, who've taken out the Taplin relay, filling second spot, Clifton Beach. Competitors getting set for a start in the Open Beach Sprint Final for men. Conditions have fluctuated throughout this carnival, but the colour scheme of, let's see, 4, I can see 8 in line for the start of this race. 8 and a dog. We'll have to wait until the dog gets out of the way. Perhaps he can be pre-post favourite. I doubt it. Who do you think will win, Steve?
Well, it's going to be a great contest, this 95-metre dash, the Open Beach Sprint, but I would imagine it would be fought out between possibly Darren Perry of Devonport. Darren's running on the top of the track in the light green singlet, and possibly Paul Williams from Clifton Beach, who's running in the dark green singlet, third from the water's edge, or third from your left-hand side on the screen.
So that's lanes 3 and 8, Perry and Williams. Perry on the outside. There looked to be a break. There was in lane 7.
That would have been Ron Bongiletti, of course, who won the beach flags, the open beach flags earlier on. He's running in the black singlet, so he's had a break, and 2 breaks, of course, are out.
Let's talk through the field now that we have had that small hiccup. Tell us through the field.
Right, well, just going from the left to right on the screen, we have Brian Jones running for Carlton Park in the red singlet. Next to him, we have Don Elmer of Devonport in the navy blue singlet, Paul Williams of Clifton Beach in the green. Next to him, we have McCormick of Devonport. Then we have would be McKinlay of Clifton Beach in the yellow. In the white, we have John Bell, his teammate, also of Clifton Beach. Bongiletti in the black, and Harry on the in the lime green shirt on the top of the track.
And I reckon you've picked it again too. Perry, the man in lane 2's fighting out. They're all coming hard too. Lane 3, Perry weakening. And I reckon Williams has got up in lane 3 with the dark green singlet.
Yes, well, I'd like to have a look at that one again. It was certainly a great finish there by Paul Williams in the singlet at Clifton Beach. He's in the camera now, and just shaking hands there. So it'll be interesting to see how that finish went.
Perry got out like a shot out of the gun. He's on the right of screen, but Williams, the muscle man in lane 3, starting to work. There's the front on shot. Williams lunging. Perry dropping back quite substantially.
Yes,
very close indeed.
Yes, Perry definitely weakened over the last 10 metres, and maybe you're right. It possibly was Paul Williams at Clifton Beach first, but we'll just wait for the judge's decision on that. But a great finish for the open beach sprint.
But now to the Iron Men of the Surf. The Iron Men of the Surf, who will sort themselves out, and they're lining up for one of the most important events on the calendar. Clifton Beach, the Iron Man. I tell you what, I reckon I ought to rub shoulders with you. You've given us some excellent predictions throughout the coverage of this carnival.
Yes,
what about the Iron Men? Anything could happen.
Well, it's been a great battle this year between Dean Parry of Penguin and Matthew Watton of Clifton Beach. The draw is really going to suit Matthew Watton because his weakest league is the ski league, and the ski league is last. So if he can open up a good lead in this swim league, I think he could be very hard to toss. See the competitors now running in the water. This is the under 18 and the Open Ironman. They hold this event together because of the mainly due to the lack of numbers in the junior, and it makes a much better spectacle.
Earlier on we had the Taplin relay with the swim, the board and the ski, and this is the Ironman competition. It's a solo performance. And I'm just trying to dig into the memory and work out perhaps who was responsible for giving it such a prestigious look. I suppose the name Grant Kenny jumps to mind. He was one who got so much publicity for his expertise as an Ironman. Nowadays, it's common to see an Ironman competition on a beach somewhere in Australia virtually every weekend over the summer months. Yes, it's certainly captured. It's an event that has really sold our movement. Of course, who could forget in let me get this year right, 1980 at Maroochydore, and I was one of the fortunate ones to witness the history being made when Grant Kenny won the junior Ironman, and then 5 minutes later took on the seniors and won the senior Ironman. It was an amazing effort, and from that day the Ironman, although it's been going since the late 60s, that certainly captured the people's imagination. It's a great event, and Grant Kenny, of course, a true champion, and it's a magnificent race. Why is it such a good event? Well, I think mainly because it takes over the three main features of surf lifesaving. You have your swimming league, and you have your board league, and then your ski league. A draw, of course, is done before the event to see what order that those leagues are run in. And of course, today we have it's a swim first, followed by the board and the ski, and then they finish up with a 50-metre beach sprint to finish the event.
as we just watch the competitors go around the back of the buoys now. In fact, they've rounded the buoys. We'll just have a look and see, pick some of these swimmers up. And that's the Matthew Watton of Clifton Beach, who's heading back to shore now. He's about a length in front. Looks like would be his teammate in Ron Davies of Clifton Beach. Then we go back there to the first junior in the field. In the yellow gold hat there, it would be the junior Jamie Rose of Ulverston. Also Craig Sweeney up there and Dean Parry. Now there's comes a wave now. Now who's going to get this? There's someone come down. It's the Matthew Watton who's cracked this wave.
And he's cracked a big lead too.
He's got a very good lead, but here comes another wave up the back now. This is going to bring these other competitors up on Watton. It's Ron Davies of Clifton Beach and Jamie Rose of Ulverston. Both caught that wave together. And Jamie, of course, a junior and a very good competitor for Ulverston. Now he's going to lead these swimmers out of the water. It's a great bit of surfing here. He's going to hold this wave right into the beach. As you can see him on screen, really working, kicking his legs, trying to stay on that wave. And now he's standing up and getting the legs out of the water to come up to the next leg, which is the board leg.
Our conditions in such a race change. Almost ready to heap praise on Matthew Watton. A wave, and from being 30 metres in front, he's 30 metres behind in third spot.
Yes, well, that's the surf conditions. Matthew had a good wave. Unfortunately, he couldn't quite hold on to it. And of course, the other people behind him picked up the next wave, which was coming through and went past him. See Ron Davies there picking up his board, but back to the leader. And it's Jamie Rose got a very good lead here. This will be a great win for Jamie if he can take this off. He's entered in the junior Ironman, so he's leading all comers at the stage.
The way in which the Ironman contest is worked out. Are we likely to see any Grant Kennys on the horizon in Tasmania?
Well, the competition here is such that we just don't get the competition. It's been proven what can be done with ex-state Ironman champion Deacon Spicer, who transferred to Cronulla in Sydney last year. Didn't have the best of years last year, but I've been reading in the papers, the Sydney papers, that Spicer he's been finishing second, and even I think he won one about 3 or 4 weeks ago at Wanda. So the competition's there. Certainly we could come up with a very good Ironman here, but the competition just isn't with us at the moment.
It's the field tailing off, chasing the leader. Jamie Rowe, who's well out in front. Getting some excellent shots from our camera people, who don't mind getting a bit wet too to provide us with some of those excellent pics.
No, it's fabulous shots from the television, from the cameraman, and most of these now are making their way out through the surf, having a few problems, but still Jamie Rose who'd be leading.
There's our man on danger money, Peter Curtis.
Yeah, so we need one for those big 6-footers to come through, and I think the ABC could be up for a camera, or the Clifton Beach Surf Lifesaving Club. But back to the leader now. It's Jamie Rose coming up towards his buoy turn. He's got about 10 metres to go.
And there's our last competitor, who is a long way behind.
Yes, he's running into the water now. Right, the leader's going round the back of the buoys now. It's Jamie Rose of Ulverston, got a very good lead here. The next competitor going round now would be Matthew Watton of Clifton Beach. He's paddled himself into second place overall, but first place in the senior Ironman. But as I said, his weakest leg is the ski leg, but he has been doing a lot of work, and it'll be interesting to see how he handles these conditions here today.
It's like a triathlon on the land, with the gallop and the cycle and the swim, and I suppose the tendency is always to hone the skills up on the strongest leg and perhaps not try and do as much work on the weaker leg. But if you are dead serious, as these fellows obviously are, you have to thrash it out on your weakest leg. And it gives the impression that there must be an enormous commitment by these men of iron to take on such a task and do it well.
Yeah, the fitness of these guys is unbelievable. They just never stop training. During the winter, they're swimming, they're doing weight work. They just never stop, and for something like surf lifesaving, where there's no money involved, they're not getting paid for their efforts. It's tremendous to witness something such as this.
Jamie Rose of Ulverston, sitting on the crest of and right on a wave at the moment. He'd be pretty pleased with himself.
Yes, he'd be totally relaxed now. He'd be trying to suck as much oxygen into the lungs as he possibly can. He's having a rest. He's letting the wave do all the work. and he'll be taking some really deep breaths at this stage. There he goes, up off his board. And this is going to be a great win if he can hold this on the ski leg.
What's his prowess like on the ski leg?
He's quite good. He's a good all-rounder. He really hasn't got a weak leg. He's a very good athlete. Well, we saw how he held the board. We saw, and we'll see now how he can handle the surf ski. He paddled the ski in the leg of the Taplin relay for Ulverston and did that very well. Taking
an ample amount of time to steady the ski, just being very careful that he gets off to a good start.
Yes, he realises that he's got this one. If he can just hang on to it. Here comes Matthew Watton now running up the beach. Just look behind him to see where the next competitor is, and it's Craig Sweeney of Penguin, and Matthew Watton's going to be battling to hold this lead in the senior section, because Craig Sweeney, a very, very strong and powerful ski paddler. There goes Watton on the pink ski there, just trying to get balanced, to get the craft moving out through the wave.
As you suggested and have done throughout the commentary, it's not as easy as it looks.
Now you can see, there goes Watton now, he's making up ground, but it's Craig Sweeney who's snuck into second place now. Jamie Rose having all sorts of problems out in the wave area. He'd fallen off, and now he's got back onto his ski. But here comes another big one, just as we say he's clear, but he's up over that one. Sweeney might cop it full bore.
All of a sudden, a race of changes, with Rose looking to have the proceedings under control. Sweeney making the challenge. Watton's back there, and there's another skier moving up on the inside of Matthew Watton. So from one skier being well clear, Jamie Rose, it's tightening up.
Yes, that would be Dean Parry, who's moved himself into third place in the fourth place overall, but third place in the senior section. And it would be Dean Parry in fourth place. Matthew Watton still holding down third, but he's really going to have to move, because Parry's a very strong paddler. Craig Sweeney of Penguin has moved himself into second place, and he's going to tackle Jamie Rose, I would imagine, in this last leg.
He's only about a boat length and a half away, and he's made up enormous ground. Watton is holding on to third spot. Dean Parry in fourth spot. And there's a fair gap back to the skiers 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10, and there are still changes going on back at the beach for the final leg. But the interest at the moment in the two leading contenders, the youngster Jamie Rose and the more experienced Craig Sweeney, as they turn for home for the final time in the Ironman event.
Yes, well, this could develop into a great finish, although Jamie, of course, being a junior and Craig Sweeney a senior. But still, Jamie will not want to be beaten on this. It'll be great for him to be first across the line.
Dean Parry's making up good ground too in fourth spot. He's almost got to Matthew Watton.
Yes, Parry's a very strong ski paddler, and as I said, Matthew Watton's weakest leg is his ski leg.
There's the gap, not much, just a boat length. Getting close to the final stages of what's been a thrilling Ironman. It's been an Ironman event where Jamie Rose looks to have had things his own way, but Craig Sweeney's making a race of it, and they're both working overtime, and the spot for third has changed, with Dean Parry getting past Matthew Watton. An interest in the first two at the moment.
Yes, here comes Sweeney. He's really going to make his move now. He saw a little bit of a ripple. You can see him really pushing down on that ski to get onto that little wave, which he's done. And now this is going to develop into a run up the beach, because they're both on the one wave, and no doubt they'll be just trying to get that oxygen for the last desperate effort to try and win this event.
Well,
Jamie Rose.
Sweeney getting ahead of Rose. Rose is the youngster. Sweeney's doing the leading. Rose is about 5 metres behind. They'll swing through the flags and hurry home. And the youngster cuts the corner and gets in front. What a finish in the Ironman. Well done, Jamie Rose. He wins by 3 metres. Craig Sweeney in second spot. He took the punt and dived for the flag on the inside, crept up, got the rails run, grabs the win, grabs the lead. Well done, Ulverston flyer.
Yes, great victory there for Jamie. He'd be wrapped over that, because he has been struggling for form this year, although he has been winning the junior Ironman, but to take on the seniors as well and beat them, a truly great effort. Third place across there, we saw Dean Parry. Craig Sweeney finished second, Dean Parry third, and Matthew Watton would have to be finished with fourth, although of course he'll be third in the senior event.
Jamie Rose, he's taking a well-earned squat on the sand.
Yes, he'll be feeling a bit of pain now. He really.
What part of the body is most painful at the end of that?
Oh, I think stomach muscles, they'll be pretty sore, and also the shoulders. There's a lot of work done by the shoulders, of course. He'd have a few problems there at the moment, but he'll be right.
There are a few more problems being experienced with the other competitors.
Yes, well, they've decided to abandon their craft and just swim for it. I think it's probably the quickest way to get there now.
Gee, I know it's hard enough to run up and down the sand, let alone have to swim out.
Yeah, my word.
It's a mixture, it's a real combination. G and D, the intestinal fortitude, a few buckets of that in the lot that have displayed the talents for us. And there's equally as much determination in the battle for 6th and 7th spot as there was for 1st and 2nd.
Yes, looks like it might be Petrie there of Carlton Park, just being his teammate across the line in Paul Banks.
An exciting finish to the Open and Under-18 Ironman. Craig Sweeney and Jamie Rose battling it out, and the success coming the way of the Ulverstone flyer, Jamie Rose, who now speaks with Rod Kilner.
Jamie, congratulations. You built up a good lead in the first couple of legs, but then had a few problems in that final one.
Yeah, it was pretty tough.
You came off the board, but just the wave catch you a little bit unprepared?
Oh, it was a ski leg when I come off. Yeah, just lost balance, I suppose.
And then you were strongly challenged around there. Did you think that Sweeney was going to overtake you in that final bit?
Yeah, I thought he might. He's a pretty quick paddler, but I was pretty lucky. I didn't lose any ground.
He just seemed to catch that wave a little bit before you, so you had to overtake him again coming around that final bend.
Yeah, well, he went to run the wrong way, so I put in a bit of a spurt when I saw he was going the wrong way. So.
Any thought how much longer you're going to be in junior ranks?
Oh, this is my last year.
And then on to the seniors?
Yeah.
How's the preparation coming for the state championships? Pretty confident about that?
Oh, yeah, not too bad.
Well, congratulations and all the best for them.
Thanks very much.
Back to you, Peter.
What a superb shot of the feature grand parade, or the march past as it's called in surf lifesaving circles, which culminates a day of activity here at Clifton Beach, a day that's been enjoyed by all, and all teams proudly wearing the club colours, looking absolutely resplendent. I suppose there's always a tinge of sadness when the carnival draws to a close, but it gives the clubs the opportunity of not displaying their skills on the beach as they rough it and tough it, as they muscle it out in the water, but in more of a finesse way. They can really wander by and show off their colours in a proud way, and I'm sure that in your involvement for many, many years, I won't ask you how many, it might be embarrassing, it's always nice to see them in action.
Yeah, it's a great spectacle. Of course, there will be 7 teams represented here at the Australian titles. You're looking at around about 150 march past teams, and it's absolutely amazing sight. You know, at an Australian title, the march past brings the crowds to its feet, and it's a great event. Of course, teams are marked on the march past. As they march around the arena, there's a lot of things they're marched on. They're marked on length of pace. They've marked on their covering, their space and dressing, and also the way they're dressed. And it's a great competition to win the march past, especially clubs on the mainland, famous march past teams such as Bundaberg, who have won the most march pasts ever, and to see them marching is just something incredible.
Does your blood race a little quicker when you hear that music?
Yes, sure does. Yeah, I like the march past event. It's good. It creates the image of surf lifesaving.
The comradeship that we've mentioned so often is, I suppose, on display now with the club colours, and there's always that innovative idea that is necessary to come up with something different. The hats.
Yes, well, last year in Tasmania, as you can see, they're leading on the colour party. They're leading on, and they're in the original march past costume. But here in Tasmania, because of the weather conditions, you can see the next team marching on is Clifton Beach. They have white shorts and their club tops and a white peak cap. And for conditions in Tasmania that are cold, it's a little bit more comfortable marching and that type of thing, and State Centre have seen their ways and allowed this to happen. Clifton Beach looking very good there, marching up to the tune of Scotland the Brave, I think, and park moving in behind them. They're in the red costumes behind Clifton Beach. Flag bearer is Michael Watkins, the club captain, and in the belt there is a very good surf swimmer in Curtis Pizzolato.
Don't they look magnificent? Doesn't that look magnificent? It paints the picture of what it's all about. And just a confirmation of an earlier result that we were waiting on. The beach sprint for men was won in actual fact by Paul Williams. A special thanks this afternoon to Stephen Gray, who's done an excellent job in giving us all the details and telling us about all the highlights of this surf carnival. And before we close, Rod Kilmer is speaking with the State Secretary of the Surf Life Saving Association here in Tasmania, Bob Smith.
Bob, firstly, I guess, are you happy with the way the day has gone?
Yes, Rod, it's been tremendous. The weather's been very kind to us. The sun's now shining and we've had a good wave all day. So, yes, and the competition's been great too. So, it's been a great day, Rod.
How are things shaping up for the state championships on the March long weekend?
Well, that's 2 weeks away from today, and I think your viewers eventually will see from the competition they've seen today that our competitors are all in fine shape and the organisation's on time. So, we're looking forward to a great state championship weekend in 2 weeks' time.
And what about the Tasmanian team for the Australian championships? That'll be selected then, and are you confident that it'll be competitive?
Well, we do have difficulty because of the number of people we have, and we can't really expect to take on the Australia's best as they are the world's best too. But the team that we select will be a competitive team, and they will do themselves proud.
Well, Bob, thanks very much. I hope everyone at home has enjoyed ABC Television's coverage of the Surf Classic from Clifton Beach, and on behalf of everyone who's worked so hard on the telecast, a very good afternoon to you all. And now on ABC Television, we join our regular Saturday afternoon program, Sports Arena.